Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we're going to go through chapter number 6. So, what is chapter number 6 about? It talks about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messengers. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in normal conditions, does not speak to man directly. He will not tell each one of us anything separately. So, He's not going to come and have a conversation with you or with me. He's not going to speak to you, He's not going to speak to me. And He doesn't speak to everybody. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way to tell us to do things is how. How does He tell us to do things if He's not going to speak to us? Well, He told the messengers and the prophets. He told the prophets and the messengers, and He chose people to receive, which means to get His message. So He picked certain people, good people, and He gave them a message, and then they, in turn, spread that message and gave it to the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His message to the messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His message to them to the messenger through angel Jibreel Islam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends His message through a messenger, and that messenger is Jibreel Islam. And some of you may not know, but he's also called Archangel Gabriel. So the messenger, this messenger, which is Jibreel Islam, comes and gives the message to the messengers and or the prophets, and they in turn give that message to people. Allah sent many prophets and messengers to different people at different times. They spoke to people in Allah's name and guided them. The prophets and messengers of Allah were men, and they were noble men. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose special people to deliver His message, and they came with books and they delivered that message. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He wants to talk to us, communicate with us, He did that by sending us messengers. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way of telling you what is right and what is wrong. That is why we have to follow our prophets. Okay, we have to follow and believe in all the other prophets, and we need to follow Prophet Sallallahu, the final prophet, and believe in what he has brought, which is the Quran. So the first prophet was Adam salam, and the last prophet was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some of the prophets were Noah salam, which is also Noah, peace be upon him; Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is also Abraham; Ishaq salam, which is also Isaac salam; Yaqub salam, which is Jacob, peace be upon him; Yusuf salam, which is also known as Joseph, peace be upon him. Then you have Musa salam, who is also known as Moses, peace be upon him. Then you have Harun salam, who was also known as Aaron, peace be upon him. Then you had Dawood salam, who is also known as David, peace be upon him. Then you have Yahya salam, who is also known as John, peace be upon him. Then you have Isa salam, who is also known as Jesus, peace be upon him. It's important to learn the names of the prophets, not just how we pronounce them in Arabic, but also in the way that they're pronounced in English, so that when you hear about them, you know the stories, the real stories, and you can understand that the difference between the stories that are in the Bible and the stories or in the old scriptures, the Torah and the Bible, the Gospel, and the difference between those and the Quran. So it's important to know the names of all the prophets, and also just to mention, these names are not original Arabic names. Ibrahim is not an Arabic name. It's not originally Arabic name. So because these prophets, when they came, they were not sent to Arab nations. They themselves, many of them were not Arabs. What we're going to do, inshallah, is just complete this exercise. So I want you to do that. So I'm not going to give you all the answers, because you can go back and the answers are here. So Allah sends His message to the messenger through angel So which angel was it? There's only one angel that is mentioned, okay? And inshallah, you should know that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends his message to the messengers through angel. Which angel was that? Inshallah, we'll see that in class. If you haven't answered that already, you can check in class your answers. But if you haven't done this lesson, then please go back and check in the text. Or you can check in class if you're really, really struggling. But please try and make sure you answer them before yourself, and take some help from your parents if you are struggling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent prophets and messengers to different. So fill in that. He sent to different, at different. So to different and at different. So here you have the adverb of time. So at different, to, sorry, different and at different. The first prophet was, I think inshallah you should all know that. And the last prophet was, so these are some of the questions that I'd like you to answer and look them up. Name some of the prophets Allah chose to guide people. So remember, we read the list of all those prophets that came. Which ones were sent? What were their names? Go back to that list that we've just looked at, inshallah. Coloring in red the shapes and spell the name of the first prophet chosen by Allah. So here you can color in red, and you can write with a black marker, or you could use a coloring pencil rather than a felt tip, and or a crayon, and then just write the name in black pen. Here you have to write in blue, color in blue, sorry, you have to color the shapes in blue, and spell the name of the last prophet chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it gives you an indication. So this is a shorter name and this is a quite a long name. So you should be able to guess which prophet's names to put on, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for watching. Inshallah, we are going to do the next lesson, chapter number 7 in the next lesson. Jazakallah khair. I hope you understood now the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala communicates with you, and the number of prophets that came as messengers and what they taught us. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.